Hey there. My name is John Gums. I'm owner and editor of Dakota Grappler. Out on a little road trip today. Going to pick up the Grappler. It's kind of an exciting day. Going up to Garrison where they're being printed. Now Garrison is about, I don't know, almost 70 miles north of Bismarck. And when we're traveling up there, of course, it's a little bit different here because this is the first time I'm using this camera. Just trying it out, seeing what happens. Well, there's a few things I'd like to talk about today. I guess first I'll talk about myself and then I'll move on because I'm going to be moving down the road here and just watch traffic and all the other things. But I guess my name is John Gums. I am owner and editor of Dakota Grappler. I've been doing this now for over 15 years. I started in 1999. I first started doing Dakota Grappler just kind of out of need for wrestlers to get publicity and get their name out there. I was recognizing that when I went through the local newspaper, headlines during the winter were always the basketball team, and wrestlers got the little blurbs in the bottom or the back page. So I decided that I needed to do something about it. Wasn't sure how to go about, so I actually contacted a guy by the name of Don Hansen, and he does a basketball magazine in the state of North Dakota called Hoopster. Well, the Hoopster is pretty successful. It's a preview book about basketball in the state, and he was very helpful. In fact, he helped me set up my first advertising and everything else I wanted to get going. And I decided I would just do a small issue. Now, my background first, I guess I'm a teacher and coach. I've taught for almost 20 years. And yeah, about 20 years. And during that time, I was a coach, and I'd always make these end of the year books where I would get pictures from the parents, and I would make sure that all my wrestlers got highlighted and they had a little memento or a keepsake. And I thought, after doing that for a few years, I thought, hey, let's see if I can do something like that, maybe on a bigger scale instead of just doing my team. See if I can highlight the rest of the teams or something. Well, when I had this brainstorm, I decided that I would do a small state tournament book. So in 1999, and about January of 1999, I decided I'd get a hold of a few people. Got a hold of a person by the name of Terry Steiner and a person by the name of Troy Steiner. Maybe you recognize them from the wrestling community. But they were multiple state champs that I had wrestled with at Bismarck Century. We were all seniors, and I'll give that in another story. But they were both done with college and were very successful and moving up, both national champions, D1 for University of Iowa. And they were in pursuit of kind of the dream of getting into the Olympics. And they're both on the Olympic ladder, and they both had the big shot of making it. Well, so I interviewed them and made a story, and then after that, all I did is I contacted seniors. Since it was right before the state tournament, being in January, I decided I'd just highlight some seniors and juniors maybe that were going to the state wrestling tournament and maybe wanted to be recognized. So I interviewed a few of them, and then I typed a bunch of stuff up, got a hold of a buddy of mine who's in printing, Evan and Mark Mengi at Image Printing in Bismarck, and they printed my first book. Now, the first book wasn't great by any means, but it was a little profitable. It made a couple $100 was all. But what it showed me is that there was an interest out there. I printed 500 of them up and basically got a few advertisers out there. And after printing it up, I mean, it was gone like that at the state wrestling tournament. Well, I had to convince my wife then to go out and do some advertising the next summer. So the next summer I went out, instead of doing my normal summer job, contacting pretty much my friends, and went to the small towns that had wrestling in the state of North Dakota. So the first preview book then was in 1999-2000 school year. It was kind of interesting because I just did the state of North Dakota, which is even more interesting because at the time I was teaching and coaching in South Dakota. Just that all of my friends and all of my coaches that I knew were in North Dakota, and my contacts in South Dakota were limited compared to what it was in North Dakota. So I got a hold of them, set up basically a questionnaire that I sent out, had the coaches fill it out, In that first year I had about, I'd say, a 65% return rate, where the coaches didn't give me information, about 35% of them. Some of them not knowing of the book or what I was trying to do, and others of them just probably plain old laziness, or not sure exactly what to do, or maybe just too busy. Maybe they're coaching football. Give them the benefit of the doubt. But I turned out my first preview book. Now that was interesting, because when I was going around that summer, I was actually looking for advertisers going through all these small towns, and found my printer, who I've been with now for 15 years. Let's think here. I actually was going in the small town of Garrison and was asking for an ad, basically to support their local wrestling team. And they said, "Do you think we could bid on it?" And I said, "Sure, put a bid in," which I didn't know what I was doing. I was just assuming I was going to print it again with Image Printing out of Bismarck. Well, after going through the process, they outbid Image by thousands of dollars. And next thing you know, I was getting printed by BHG out of Garrison. And we went through some growing pains, different people helping out, because I had no skills at basically making the book in general, putting ads in. People would give me a business card, and all I knew what to do was to basically scan it and scan the ad, and I didn't know how to fix it. So I paid the people to fix the ads for me and place them in the book, and I just got the information. Now, what was interesting in the first days, now technology is way better in the last 15 years, but they used to fax me their stuff. For an example, I would give them the questionnaire, and the questionnaire themselves would be filled out, written in pencil or in pen, and then the coaches would fax it back. Half the time, I probably couldn't read them, or I spelled names wrong, or in fact, I had a hard time getting pictures, because of course they can't fax pictures. This is pre-internet email and attaching pictures and photos and all that stuff. But I'll continue here in a second.